Alright, now I'm well aware that most people know how to do this, but there's going to be a little bit about putting water back into the RV after winter. I'm not going to bother with putting a filter on because I got my own water for now. Not use up my filter life. Alright, some of the inside stuff I already did, so I'll put that stuff before this.
Now in a larger RV, you're getting the RV antifreeze out of your lines. Since mine is a Class B, I don't use RV antifreeze anywhere but the traps. I just use an air compressor to blow out the lines. So this is pretty simple for me today.
Okay, obviously as you get ready to de-winterize, which isn't really a thing, you're just putting water back in your RV. You clean up first. Cleaning up the bathroom. And clean the sink out. When you lift that up, that little area back there can get a little nasty like it is now. But you try to clean it. No one wants to think of this, but you clean the toilet too. Turn the water on. I always obviously run water out of here before you put your hose on, and I usually will run water through the hose before I hook it up. I try to do my best to get all the water out of the hose before I seal it up, but this will clean it out. In the water, very important thing. This is a pressure regulator. Most people that RV know what that is, but if you've never RV'd, those are very important. Sometimes the water can come out at too much pressure for your RV, and you can blow some lines. So a water pressure regulator is really important. And for me, a lot of times I do weird stuff. I don't always turn it on full blast, and a lot of times once I'm hooked up, I turn the water off at the maze once I have water in there. You probably don't need to, but I don't look for any opportunity to have anything leaking in there, so that's just something I do. I'll turn it off out here most of the time. Alright, let's on my leisure travel. This is where this goes. Alright, I got that good and tight. And I have a lever, and I wrote here tank. That fills up my tank. City, which means the water just goes straight through. Hey, we got a B. You're gonna have to leave, buddy. Go away. I didn't need to kill you. So first what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill up the tank. Alright, and you can hear it going in the RV. And these usually are gonna drip a little. It's kind of what they do. I'm gonna try to retighten it. Alright, the dripping is pretty much done. First place we're gonna check. Alright, I started moving stuff. Out of the way. That panel. This is that's a hot water heater, and you end up a lot of times turning off the water to it, so I'm going to turn the water back onto it, you know. Make sure we got no leaks coming here because we know there's water to it. Looks good to me, and I will keep that cover off for a little bit to make sure that nothing has happened over the winter. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's water going in to the tank. Look out, Keek. I'm going to turn the water on. Hey, nothing's happening. Gotta turn the pump on. Give it a second. Pumping it through the lines. Here it comes. I'm gonna check under the sink to make sure we've got no leaks. See that my fresh water is rising? I'm gonna drain that. Hold on. And we learned something. Those were open, so I didn't close them over the winter. That might have had something to do with the slow water pressure coming to the sink. I'm going to turn the water off and I'm going to open this. Alright, what's this buffoon doing? Well, use my sewer hose to catch some of this water so it doesn't all puddle where I'm going to go in. I do this because it's good to clean out your tank. And you can see it's coming out the hose, so that way there won't be a big puddle of water right under where I step to go in the RV. Alright, that's pretty boring, isn't it? You check it to see if there's any mung has grown, and it has not, because I use vinegar to clean out my tanks twice a year. See, coffee cups, they have a lot of uses. Now I don't have to hold that. It always seems like no matter what I do, I have an open line when I turn the water back on. At least they weren't inside. I checked those. I just didn't check the outside. And I kind of do that on purpose, just in case there's any water in there, expansion, give it room to get out. Let's see, it's almost done. Alright, I'll put that on. And these are compression. That noise you hear, that's normal. But you want them pretty tight. Alright, that's tight. Now we're going to turn the water back on. Turn the pump on. Turn this on. Turn the water on into the toilet. You can see the water's flowing with the help of the pump. Sink. It's got air to get out of there. I'm going to keep it running. Let the water keep going in there because I want to clean out the gray and black tanks too. So we're going to let that run for a while. The bathroom's tough because there's not a lot of light in here, and but that's working. On mine, when you drain the sink, you got to be careful you close that back and it goes down the drain. If you go too fast, it makes a mess. But we're going to try to do something here. I took the shower head off to make it easier. And then, if you can possibly see that, you can see the water's filling up the bowl like it's supposed to. So that's working. Alright, and we're back to running this. We're going to run this a while. Like a while. And while I'm doing that, I'm checking again under the sink to make sure there's no water, no leaking. No leaking at all. I'm very happy. I'm very happy not to have any leaks. Alright. I'm going to shut that off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up the water heater. Heard it click. You can hear it going. And make sure the water heater, even though I almost never use my hot water heater, maybe a few times a year when I shower, which is, you know, since I've said before, I'm normally in campgrounds that have showers. I don't shower in here, but it's always good to run your systems. So let's go outside. All right, I took the cover off. I can see the heat, you know, a little fluttering. Something's leaking. Everything seems good. So we're gonna let that heat up and make sure that we got hot water. Not for very long, because I got about a third of a tank, it says, of propane. All right. Oh yeah, that's hot water now. All right, I'm gonna turn that off, save the propane. Hot water's good. I just figured, since I have hot water, even though I never do my dishes in here, I'm gonna head and do my dishes in here. Yeah, the hot water heater works. Alright, so we're going to do dishes. Don't waste it. I spent the propane to heat it up, to check it. I might as well use it. But as you can see, doing dishes in this little bitty sink isn't all that easy. God, that's hot. So the outside bucket thing, to me, always seems like a good idea. Alright, we'll get back to working on the water stuff here in a minute. I see how distracted I get? And as you can also see, you make a mess with water washing in here, so I still go back to my outside in the bucket is so much easier than inside in a Class B. And even in some smaller regular RVs. And that's even with I installed a moving nozzle, so. Alright, my hot water heater does work. But yeah, there's just no way in here not to make a mess. I got water everywhere. The noise you hear and the little bit less pressure, if you don't have an RV, that's normal, because you're just using a little water pump. And what do I keep doing? I keep checking for leaks. It's important to make sure you don't have any leaks. Turn the water on. I'm gonna do the bathroom. You don't need to see in there again. You can hear the pump works for that too. And you can try to do both at the same time. It usually doesn't go that well. Alright, so there we kind of go. I know my water works fine. Now we're going to get rid of this stuff. The tube of grossness. And then here, where my levers are. You always want to do the black first, because then the gray will push anything out the hose. So you can hear it. But don't worry, this ain't gross, it's just water. There's nothing in there to be grossed out about. This is an older RV, it doesn't have a macerator or anything fancy like that. So you have to be careful of what goes down in there that can clog things up. Alright. Close. Close. I'm going to do it again. Alright, I put about 3 or 4 gallons of water into the black tank running, and I was just filling up a gallon jug and pouring it into the toilet. Now, one last thing is, I think it comes down to personal preference. I've heard good and bad on each sides of it, but I close my tanks and I only open them to dump. Some people, when they hook up at a campsite, will open up their tanks and just let it go straight out, you know. The only reason I do that is somebody once told me you can get sewer gases coming back up, and I don't know how true it is, so I just decided that's what I'll do. So that's what I do. And like I said again, I kind of do my best not to use my my onboard water all that much. Take some showers in it. Every now and then I'll do some dishes. I'll carry water in it, but like I've shown, I do my dishes outside, and if I have access to another bathroom, that's what I use, because, you know, a Class B is and most RVs are really just a traveling porta potty, so I try not to use them. And a Class B is pretty small bathroom, so it's not very convenient. Alright, that should do it. Okay, a couple more things I'll show. Now the sewer hose, we know right now it's not dirty because there wasn't anything in there. But I'll run some water and then just do that. Again, for most of you, I'm telling you something you already know. Alright, one other thing. For people that don't know RV yet, you can see, hopefully you can see, there's still water in the bottom of that. You should leave a little bit of water in there to keep your seal good. There's also some stuff that you use to condition the seal so that it keeps a good seal. It holding water shows you that your seal is good, and that helps keep stink from coming out of there, you know, as much as you can. Alright, have a great and wonderful day, ending with a toilet. Yay, your lucky day.